let's get to wide receiver Lon. And of course, the big news that is great news for all LSU fans is that the Kayshon Boutte, who was leading the nation in touchdown receptions at the time that he went down, is back.
Yes, the man I said would be the Biletnikoff winner last year on this show. He was on pace to do that, Mark, before his injury. 9 touchdowns through 6 games. Absolutely filthy, absolutely filthy. It took clear until I believe the 13th game of the season. You go completely through all of the season, and I don't think anyone got over his receiving yards. I don't think any. I think he still led the LSU Tigers in receiving yards. In fact, I believe 100% he did. And he still led the team in touchdowns, of course, even though he was out for the final 7 games. Jack Bech did lead the team in receptions, but no one could top him in receiving yards still. Even though he was injured for 7 games, he led the nation in touchdown receptions for most of his tenure. And then when he went out, he was tied with Jordan Addison for the touchdown reception lead. And, of course, Addison would end up winning the Biletnikoff. Now Addison and Boutte both return, and they're going to go head-to-head. But Kayshon, best receiver in the SEC, best receiver in the country, he's going to prove it under Cortez Hankton's leadership, and he's going to elevate his performance even more than he did last year, Mark. Think about it this way. He even dropped a few touchdowns last year, okay? This is a young man who even dropped a few touchdowns, okay? Kayshon Boutte, he really never actually hit it to the max. And that's not only, in my opinion, that's in his family's opinion as well, that he never really even hit his max. But this is a young man who had 1,244 yards, 14 touchdowns in 16 games. It's deliriously filthy. But, it's not just him. Jack Bech, who some can call him a tight end, some can call him a receiver. I believe he's a receiver. He usually practices with the receivers. He practiced mostly as a freshman with the tight ends, but he's making that fully transition over to being a receiver now. And if you look at what he can do after the catch, he has to be out wide. He cannot just be stuffed inside, involved in these blocking schemes. Even though he's a violent blocker and he's a hard-nosed player and he'll get after it, he'll do whatever possible for the team. You've got to put Jack Bech outside, leading the team in receptions as a freshman, Mark. He should have been on the All-SEC freshman team. I don't know how he wasn't. That was a big snub. He should have been a freshman All-American, but, the Bowers from Georgia took those spots. And that's just the luck Jack Bech had this season, because there was a lot of passes where it was high and over Bech when he was wide open after a beautiful route that he would run, or just all sorts of situations where this offense did not work to maximize his potential and abilities. And I think Brian Kelly, who offered Bech before LSU, had Bech visiting him at South Bend before LSU had Bech ever visit the LSU campus. I think Brian Kelly is going to be drooling over the possibilities, what he and Mike Denbrock can do with Jack Bech. Because I'm telling you, Mark, Jack Bech is going to be that player who swallows the SEC whole like a Leviathan. He's just going to absolutely go in there and I think he's going to wreck people this season. And him and Kayshon Boutte are going to be a dynamic duo this season. But, they're not alone. Malik Neighbors or Deion Smith, I think either one of these guys could be that third guy. But Deion Smith, is he going to stay with the team? That's the thing. He's tied academically to LSU. He has until May 1st, which is the deadline to possibly transfer to Ole Miss, which is where we believed he was going before. That's where he was going. That's where he was absolutely headed. There's photos of him rocking the Ole Miss stuff. He was like pretty much 99% making that transition, and then some academic stuff kept him in Baton Rouge. But it's a chance for possibly Kelly and Mike Denbrock to keep a very talented piece of the team who had 135 yards and 3 touchdowns in just a single quarter against Central Michigan this season. Absolute festival of freakishness in the air, Mark. Deion Smith is fantastic, but Malik Neighbors actually was all SEC freshman. Malik Neighbors can turn on the afterburners. He averaged 35.8 yards per catch against ULM this season when he had 4 catches for 140 something yards and a touchdown. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's brilliant after the catch. He reminds me of Justin Jefferson with the way he runs his routes, his hard-nosed Louisiana-bred receiver. Just he's gonna, if it's a 50-50 ball, he's gonna go up there and he's gonna take it from you. And no one is gonna outdog him on the field. Malik Neighbors, he's a lot of Tigers' favorite player out there. And for me, I love Malik Neighbors. I wanted him to start as a freshman. An injury before UCLA prevented that, but once he regained his health, you saw him just turn on the afterburners, Mark. But Chris Hilton, he finished the season with an 81-yard touchdown catch, walking off from a receiver, thrown to him from a receiver, John Trey Kirkland, playing quarterback in the Texas Bowl. But he began the season catching a pass here or there, and then he had to be shut down because of a knee surgery. And luckily he came back and finished the season strong with that touchdown, the confidence-building touchdown. And Chris Hilton Jr. is someone who could come in and just absolutely just blaze a trail, Mark. Percy Harvin comes to mind, just like Kayshon Boutte with the Percy Harvin connection there and the profile. Hilton Jr. is so fast, Mark. So fast. He has unreal champion track speed, near Olympian level track speed, Mark. He's won a lot of awards in the track and field competitions there, and it just what he does is absolutely filthy. And I just cannot wait for him to be fully healthy, 100% on the field. Chris Hilton, he's a burner. Brian Thomas Jr., kind of Terrace Marshall profile, kind of a skyscraper aerial threat, but he does have frightening yards after catch ability too. He actually came in and caught the same amount of passes as Malik Neighbors and 359 yards, I think it was, 2 touchdowns for Brian Thomas. He had a touchdown against Alabama in a big spot there, but his development didn't come along as fast as you would like him. There was some big drops from Brian Thomas, but I really expect a lot from him as well. This is a loaded group, Mark. I mean, we even just got Kieran Lacey, who had 6 touchdowns last year. That's a group that really is returning a lot, returning 2,276 receiving yards on the ground. I mean, up through the air, 171 catches, 24 touchdowns. And then we get Kieran Lacey coming in with 6 more touchdowns. This should be even including the defense. I'll even include the defense in this. This should be the strength of the team, Mark. The number one strength of the team.